Hello and welcome back to Hindustan Astrology. I'm Katya, and in today's video, we are going to discuss the month of January 2025. Now, this month, we have a big pileup of energy that's going to result in the new moon on the 29th of this month, which is in Capricorn, and we're going to have a little stellium there by the end of the month. So, we still have Jupiter retrograde. He is stationing direct. So he goes direct actually February, the beginning of February, I think the 4th. And then we have, of course, Mars is retrograde. He will be entering Gemini again this month, and it is on the 20th, which is the US presidential inauguration of Donald J. Trump. I feel like there's just going to be a lot of intensity with Mars retrograde in opposition to Capricorn. It's already passed by the about 7-degree mark where Pluto is right now. But we do have a lot of intensity and a lot of things building up. So let's take a look. Okay, so let's get started. All right, just a friendly reminder, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and if you are interested in my monthly newsletter where I put everything into writing, all of the dates that we have going on for the month, just head on over to hindustanastrology.com, and on the front page you will see the newsletter sign up. It is free. And then also, I have my readings available online. Um, if you have any problems with booking it, just go down to the blue square in the lower right-hand corner. That is the message center, and I will get it immediately. And before I start the presentation, I wanted to give you some news. I do have a new WordPress website coming soon, which I'm very excited about because this is something that you can see on all platforms. It doesn't matter how old your phone is or your computer, you will be able to see everything. The booking process will be much more simple. And then the really big news is that I am renting out a space down at my friend Carmela's studio in Bloomington. It's the Bloomington Massage and Body Works. It's in the Fountain Square Mall, which is right downtown on the square. And so she offers massage. I will be doing Reiki for her once a week. And then I will be available for doing psychic medium, Vedic astrology, and tarot and oracle card readings. Yes, I'm offering 15, 30, 45, and 60-minute readings in person. It is less expensive than the website because there's no video recorded with it. And also I don't give any handouts. Now, if you are interested in a printed out report of your chart with what it means and the transit dates for the next year, along with your reading. That is an extra $55. But right now, I'm just doing it at $120 an hour. So I really hope if you're local or, even if you're in Indianapolis or Evansville, Louisville, whatever, head on over to the Bloomington Fountain Square Mall, and I would love to give you a reading in person. And also, I'm going to have my products available. I'm so excited. So my pain relief whipped body butter, my lip balms, my bath bombs. I'm going to have, of course, all of my tinctures, which I have a lot because a lot of them are wild crafted from the property. And then I also have available, my elixirs, my perfumes. So I'm going to have the sprays and I'm making the oil roller balls. And I might have a few other things that I run out of all the time, right? Like incense. And maybe I'm going to carry a small variety of essential oils. So just some things that complement what I do, fun things that, you can take with you as remedies for the planets. So that will be starting Well, I guess technically the second week of January, because the first is actually on a Thursday, I believe. Um, no, it's a Wednesday. So that next week I have to get my room set up and really excited. So send me a message on the website if you have any questions. All right. So before we get really started into this month, I wanted to go over the United States chart just so you have it in your mind, because this is something that we're going to be talking a lot about. I know I've talked about it before and I've shown it, but I figured let's just pick it apart just really quick. So we have July 4th, 1776 at 6:30 p.m. EST in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And we have this date because of James Kelleher. This is called the Kelleher chart. He was hired by, I think, astro.com to go into the archives in Philadelphia. And he spent about 3 months researching exactly when they all signed the Declaration of Independence. Now, we do know that, some of the colonies didn't sign on for another few months, right? That's fine. This chart is still valid. And we've been using it a lot and it works great. So I'm confident that this is the correct time. So for the United States, we are a Sagittarius ascendant, Mula Nakshatra. As you know, Mula is the root star. Mula people are always having to start over again. They have to burn it down and recreate. And that's definitely something we can say about the United States. I've been through a lot of turmoil in the short time that we have been around. That makes Jupiter our chart ruler. And Jupiter is in opposition in the seventh house in Ardra. So Jupiter and Gemini, it really is about technology, media, communication. And you can definitely say the United States has, really pushed the envelope and created a lot of new technology, AI, you know, news, TV, I mean, radio, all that stuff has been furthered in this country. So you can definitely see that. Ardra is the howler. This is Rudra. So Ardra is about the dark night of the soul, and it howls and screams with pain and howls at the moon, rather, kind of like a dog does or a wolf. And so this is about, really speaking your truth as well. And we have the sun here in Punarvasu. That's the comeback kid, right? The star of renewal. Definitely, you could say the United States is the comeback kid after how many times we've fallen down and gotten back up. We have Venus there in Ardra and Mars. So a Mars-Venus conjunction, this shows somebody who's very passionate. Definitely can say that about the United States. But all of the stellium in Gemini is in the seventh house. And for, the chart of a country, the seventh house is not the marriage partner, it's the opponent, right? And having Mars there, we're always fighting somebody, right? Somebody's always fighting us. And so, when we have Mars right now, which is in Cancer, and on the 20th, Inauguration Day, it's going to go back into the seventh house of the United States. You better bet enemies are going to be trying to attack us, probably trying to attack Trump as well. And coincidentally, the United States is in a Rahu Mercury planetary cycle, and Rahu and Mercury are together in the United States chart. So it's in the eighth house. So, this just tells us that right now we are in a time of deep transformation. And we're also having a Pluto return, which is opposite our Mahadasha and our Antardasha, or our Bhukti. So, yeah, it's intense, y'all. I don't think I need to tell you that. But this is where Mars is right now, right on top of where our planetary cycle is. This is why I wanted to show this to you guys. Yeah, and then when it goes back into Gemini, it's going to be with all this stuff. So we're not out of the woods. Mars doesn't go into Leo until June 6th. So it's going to be intense until then. But I do feel that because Both solar eclipses for this year are partial solar eclipses, and the first one, it's not even actually in, well, the moon's in Leo, but Rahu's still in Pisces, so it's not technically exactly on that Aquarius Leo axis. So I think next year I feel is going to be where we're more out of the woods. This year we're still, weeding through a lot of things. And then also we've got, the big news on February 1st is that we have the Rahu-Neptune conjunction. That's going to take place in Pisces in the fourth house for the United States. And the fourth house is the house of the homeland. So yeah, Sagittarius people, if you are a Sag rising, you're going to be really feeling it this month. But it's all with the intention of getting to the truth, right? And so a lot, Rahu is smoke and mirrors, fate and destiny, obsessions, addictions, right? Neptune is illusion, delusion, glamour, film, photography, hidden things, scandals, right? And a lot of Rahu-Neptune conjunctions have had to do with secrets coming out of the closet, especially concerning bed pleasures, right? Abuse allegations usually come out of the closet when these two come together. So we're going to, it's just get your popcorn out. It's going to be real interesting around February 1st to see how this plays out. And so I just wanted to show you the United States chart. And then our moon, of course, we can't forget our moon, that's who we are, is in Shatabishak. And Saturn is in Aquarius right now. And what is interesting is that when Saturn was retrograde, he went retrograde, he just crossed back over into Shatabishak, right? He went retrograde, or I'm sorry, direct at about 18.5 degrees. And so everyone's been talking about healing, the cures for diseases coming out, which is all true. However, I had a feeling when we touched upon that Shatabishak Nakshatra just barely, some information was going to come out about AI, ET, aliens, UFOs, all that stuff. And look what's been happening with the drones in the sky. So I just want to say, I do feel that the United States is the one to spearhead the disclosure. And this phenomenon we're seeing right now is definitely a part of it. So I don't feel that we are in physical danger. I feel more they are trying to see what our reactions are for what's coming. So I'll just leave it there. Okay. And coincidentally, our moon in Aquarius were by Saturn. Saturn's with Neptune. And later in the chart, you can see Saturn and Neptune are here in Virgo. And in March, Saturn goes into, or is it May? May, Saturn goes into Pisces. And when he does, he's going to be conjunct Neptune. And Saturn is what? Authority figures, elders, the establishment, right? And having Neptune there, it's definitely going to bring out more skeletons from the closet with authority figures. So just going to leave it there. But this is our chart, so you can refer back to it later. Take a screenshot. Okay, so we have, starting off, January 4th at 1:36 a.m. EST, we have Mercury entering Sagittarius. So this chart is actually for when for the full moon, but Mercury entering Sagittarius is about speaking the truth. Mercury's communication, Sagittarius is the truth. And because it's the truth, it's funny how a lot of conflict, particularly in Purva Ashada, Nakshatra, a lot of conflict can start with Sagittarius because a lot of wars have to do with, who is telling the truth, what are your beliefs? What is your faith, right? And so, as the planets are building up towards Capricorn, um, well, today when I'm filming this is December 28th, and in 2 days on the 30th, we have our new moon that's in Purva Ashada. So it's going to be interesting to see between the 30th and the 4th what kind of saber rattling is done, is the way I see it. And then January 13th at 5:27 p.m. EST, we have our full moon at 29 degrees, 47 minutes of Gemini Punarvasu Nakshatra. And so this is the return of the light. This is the star of renewal. I see that as a good sign. And for the United States, as we know, it's in our 7th house of opponents. So, there could be some peace talks by the time we get to our full moon. And as you can see from, well, I put it to Bloomington. I meant to do it DC, but we're usually about the same ascendant. I think we're like 6.5 minutes apart chart wise. And so for DC, this could be a Cancer rising putting Mars retrograde on the ascendant. And so that is definitely going to indicate more conflict, right? Having the moon in the 12th house, a lot of secrets, a lot of fears. The United States is having to eat its words right now. And we have been emboldened this past administration to attack willy-nilly who we want overseas. And I think that's going to stop. It's going to stop around this time because on the 20th, it's going to stop with the new administration. So I feel like the old one is going to do everything they can to cause problems. And I think this full moon might show that, but there is hope with it being in Punarvasu, okay? Everything, like I said, is still kind of churning. And then also later that day, as you see, when we have our full moon, it's at 29 degrees. So later that day, Sun enters Capricorn to conjunct Pluto. So happy birthday to all of the Capricorns. We love your stability and your groundedness and your ability to be practical, something a lot of people don't have the ability to do. But Capricorn people are really great about setting a firm foundation for the future. So happy birthday to all of the Sun in Capricorns. Then January 18th at 8 p.m. EST, actually 8 to 8:22 p.m. This is the exact conjunction, right? So we have a Graha Yuddha, which means planetary war, between Saturn and Venus at 21 degrees, 52 minutes of Aquarius, Purva Bhadrapada. So Saturn's in his own sign, which is very strong. Venus is in Aquarius, which makes her a little unconventional with her relationships. And Saturn and Venus get along very well, but when they come together, it is a bit of a damper on romance, right? Saturn's not the most romantic of partners, but to him, something romantic is like, buying his sweetheart a piece of property or a stock or cryptocurrency, something that's like solid that can grow upon, not like a jewelry or a vacation or whatever. So having Saturn and Venus together, is just making us be more practical. But of course, a planetary war means that the planet that stays on that degree, they're fighting over a degree, right? So the planet that stays on the degree wins. And we know that Saturn always wins and Mars always loses. So Saturn's the winner. He moves slower. Venus is moving on. So she's leaving the degree, leaving it to him, right? So just take care on that day, on the 18th that, just try to be hopeful and optimistic and don't take out any frustrations on your partners, okay? And then January 20th at 11:36 p.m. EST, so this is right before midnight, we have Mars retrograde re-entering Gemini. And we know that The inauguration is always at noon, right? So I think that day there's probably going to be an assassination attempt. Um, there might even be one that we don't hear about, but definitely they're going to be thwarting a lot of conflict around this. And then Mars will be in the seventh house for the United States. Um, yeah, definitely conflict with enemies. You know, Mars, when he's retrograde, is actually stronger. So I would just say make sure you've got your groceries and your everything is stocked up, because you just never know. You never know what's going to happen with these inauguration days, and things have just been so crazy lately. I would just say be prepared. You know, try not to have any big plans if you can help it. Um, and the only good thing about him going back into Gemini is that he's not in Cancer, which is a sign of debilitation. Um, but Mars is going into Mercury's sign, and Mercury's his enemy. So it's not exactly the best placement for him either. But just the placement of that day concerns me. Okay. January 24th at 7:11 a.m. EST, we have Mercury entering Capricorn. So here we start the build up, right? And you know, Mercury Capricorn makes us think better. Mercury's best sign is Virgo, which is an earth sign, and Capricorn's an earth sign. So he does very well in Capricorn and calms the anxiety and racing brain syndrome that Mercury oftentimes can get. So that's a positive thing. And then January 27th at 8:25 p.m. EST, we have Venus entering Pisces exalted, which is very exciting. I love this time of year when she's in her sign of exaltation. Just things are a little bit easier, things flow better. Now, on March 1st, Venus is going to go retrograde in Pisces. So this energy is going to be even more amplified. And then as we go towards the end of March, we have a buildup of planets in Pisces. There's like a stellium of 5 planets. So just in time for the eclipse. Yay. But so pay attention to what happens around January 27th with whatever house in your chart is your Pisces house, because energy there is going to be felt very strongly all the way, you know, through the beginning of April. Okay. So just pay attention. All right, let's keep moving on. Then January 27th to the 31st, January 29th at 7:35 a.m. EST, we have our new moon, 15 degrees 38 minutes of Capricorn, Shravana Nakshatra. And so here we have Sun, Moon, Mercury. The ascendant is here for the new moon, and Pluto is there. So very Capricorn new moon. And Shravana is the star of listening or the star of learning. So, you know, Shravana has to do with listening to higher realms, right? Intuition, um, other dimensions, music, even. But, you know, if we're not tuned into higher realms, what are we listening to? We're listening to what mundane reality has to say, material reality, right? Which is the news and media, and you know, listening to you know, maybe the wrong source of information, listening to gossip, that kind of thing. It can be the negative side of Shravana. So, you know, having this buildup of planets here, I would just say uh make sure that you are listening to higher wisdom, right? Higher learning. And Pluto there is really bringing out our fears with the moon. So don't listen to your fears on this day. You know, really focus on, you know, pick up a book you've been meaning to read, right? Watch a movie, listen to like a spiritual podcast, something that uplifts you. That's how you want to use Shravana's energy. And this makes Saturn well, he also rules the ascendant because he rules Capricorn, but he's in Aquarius. So it's a very Saturn kind of new moon. And, you know, for DC, it's still going to be Capricorn, but this puts Mars retrograde in the sixth house, and sixth house is the house of open enemies. So yeah, we're definitely going to be in the thick of it right after the new administration. But this, Capricorn has to do with authority, government. So there will be an emphasis upon that. And on February 4th, Jupiter goes direct. So we are definitely feeling Jupiter stationing. He is making a beautiful trine to this new moon. So that's a positive thing. And Jupiter's hope and optimism. So, whew, a lot of energy going on. Yeah. And then January 30th, the next day at 11:23 a.m. EST, we have Uranus going direct. 29 degrees, 3 minutes of Aries, Kritika Nakshatra. So we know that, Uranus just went back into Aries, and that produced a big shift around December 12th, I think. And, on a personal level, we can be more accident prone for sure when Uranus is in Kritika and retrograde. But when he goes direct, he's going to travel back over that ground again, right? So if you've had any accidents or, have felt just kind of shaky, just do things to calm yourself down, do your breathing techniques, your meditation. That should help. But for the United States, this is in our fifth house. And if I remember correctly, wasn't there a school shooting around the time that Uranus went back into Aries? I'll have to look. But I would just say with the new year coming up, as it's traversing this portion of the zodiac and it's in the United States fifth house of children, we've got to be vigilant about our schools. That's one thing I would definitely say. And so, yeah, everything is kind of, building up to when we have the stellium of planets in Pisces at the end of March. And then after that, I think things will calm down a little bit. So that's what I have for my presentation now. All right, you guys, let's do the second half of our video for January 2025. We're going to do some tarot cards. So let's see what the tarot has to say about this month. See what Spirit has to say. All right, so I just shuffled and cut. So we are going to pull 3 cards. And we have, as our first card, the Ten of Swords. This is called Ruin. And it's interesting that, the United States has that Mula ascendant because that is about the ruins, right? For the collective, you're definitely feeling like you're ruined or things are ending in a way that leaves everything a mess. And you're not ruined though. There's difference between ruin and ruined. Okay. So for the collective, this means that we're dealing with feelings of defeat, right? What are you feeling defeated about? What is it that you feel like you can't overcome? Because this month is a time to really buckle down, right? We've got that new moon in Capricorn at the end of the month. And so we've really got to focus on letting go of the past. I mean, it is January, right? Letting go of the past and really focusing on the future and picking up the pieces from the ruins, okay? On a collective level for the world, I mean, just looking at these war-torn areas and seeing things left in ruins. Yeah. And so the second card we have is the Lovers reversed. And this is the Gemini card. And it's interesting that Mars retrograde is going back into Gemini. So if you've had some endings in relationships, right? And this is talking about for sure the relationship is over. Pick up the pieces and move on. And you've got to trust your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it's not right. And we must always, if something isn't feeling like, if somebody's not saying the truth, somebody is deceiving you, it's going to come out this month, you guys. I mean, these two cards together, for sure. And the third card that goes along with it is the Moon reversed. And the Moon is about secrets. It's always about mental health issues, too. I feel like there's somebody who has kept some mental health problems in the closet and hidden them from you, and now they're coming out. Secrets and fears from the past also coming out. On a personal level, I'm really feeling like there's a lot of people that are letting go of relationships this month. So the deceit, the denial, the delusion, all of that stuff, when Rahu, I'm telling you guys, when Rahu and Neptune come together on February 1st, so this is all leading up to that. We're going to find out a lot more about these scandals that we've been hearing about, and in your personal life, it's much worse than you think it is. I hate to tell you that, but if you've been thinking somebody isn't doing you right, it's probably much worse than what you think. So this is a time of reckoning, a time of healing, time of letting go. And the moon always talks about sleep and dreams, right? So an excellent way to deal with this is to go to bed early, drink your chamomile tea, right? Keep a dream journal, pay attention to your intuition. This is what the moon talks about, okay? And the moon is also the mother. So if your mother's still around and she's had any problems, then this is definitely a time for you to pay attention to her and your mother's family, any kind of karma, ancestral patterns from your mother's family. This is a great time. Probably a lot of these love issues have to deal with your mom and the pattern of behavior from your mother's family. So adding that on to, Mars being retrograde in Cancer, the sign of the mother. We're just going through a big year of everything coming out, right? So just have your faith, know that everything happens for a reason, and that the universe is always conspiring to bring us our greatest joy. Unfortunately, it means tearing things down in order to get to that, right? All right, you guys. So that's what I have for today. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, or you can go over to hindustanastrology.com, leave or click on the blue square in the bottom, and that will take you to a message center and we can chat back and forth. If you're interested in a reading, go to the Book a Reading tab on my website. I have several options for you, 15, 30, and 60-minute and an hour and a half actually as well on the website. So I hope you have a wonderful New Year's. Happy New Year. I wish you and your families all the best, many blessings of success. Namaste. See you later. Bye.